This is the week that many of us, not everyone does, but many of us celebrate Thanksgiving, a tradition that most of us grew up with, a holiday that usually includes a huge meal, often with traditional elements of turkey and dressing and all the fixings. We stuff ourselves. Then we have to take a nap to digest all of that food. Now, some people say the turkey even has something in it that makes us sleepy, right? But, oh, wow. Now, many of us do try to focus during this holiday season on things we're thankful for. Some people take the whole month of November and try to think of one thing a day that they're thankful for. It's just a time to focus sometimes on things that we're thankful for. Many years ago, when I was a lay minister at Pittman Park Methodist Church, I was given the opportunity as a lay minister to preach on the Sunday night before Thanksgiving. They would let the lay ministers preach at night, but at least they let women preach. so, so it was a Sunday night before Thanksgiving, and I decided to put a little twist on it and call it ThanksLiving. ThanksLiving. I was so proud I thought of that. One of my colleagues at Georgia Southern told me that this ThanksLiving idea was an old concept, and he said it's been done and done and done. I'll tell some of you that know people from back who it was, but I won't right now. Now, since this person had heard lots of sermons, he was probably right, and he's listening now from the great beyond. He's probably thinking, I tried to tell her, but she still doesn't get it. He may be right. Some of you may have heard messages on ThanksLiving before. In fact, I think I did a warmed over version at UUFS. But this is the 2024 version, a year that I think we really need to focus on living our thanks. Living our thanks. Or as the rapper would say, we need an attitude of gratitude. We need to walk our talk and walk love's walk. We need to stop the messing and start the blessing. We need more than Thanksgiving. We need ThanksLiving. I'll say amen. Y'all say it again. Amen. All right. That's the best I can do with my rapping ability. I've got lots to be thankful for, and I'm pretty good at recognizing that and giving my thanks. I try to say thank you. But do I live my thanks? Do I live it? Do you? In trying to think and rethink about this topic, I again made a list of my blessings. And that's what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm glad we have a time for naming joys and concerns here at UU. It makes us focus sometimes on our blessing. So I made a list and felt good. And what I'm going to invite you to do is take that card and that pencil and just, you're not going to share these with anybody, but just think about it for a minute and make a list of 2 or 3, 4 things that you are especially thankful for this year in 2024. If you don't have a piece of paper, you can use your non-dominant hand, and you can use your finger here and write it on, pretend to write it. Sherry, since you're up, can you push that so the fan comes on, or a little cooling or something? I'm having a little bit of a hot flash. Maybe just the fan. Thank you. Now, after I made my list, I don't know about you all, but I was feeling pretty good. Yeah, I recognize these things that I have, these blessings, just like these children did. What, didn't they do a good job? Yeah. Then I remember my topic was ThanksLiving. And as I looked at each blessing on my list, I asked, am I living this thanks? And I don't think the results, I don't think I did as well as I could have done. I'm not going to be too down on myself, but I think I can do better. So as an example of this process, I'm going to identify just a few of the things that were on my list and my thoughts about these. I've always had, as Matilda said, I've always had family at the top of my list. And I'm still oh so thankful for my family members. But I'm going to be honest with you. I'm struggling with issues related to my family of origin right now. Thus, family matters are not the healthiest thing for me to try to figure out, even for myself, much less as an example to the congregation. So I'm not going to explore more of that today. I'll just ask you all to forgive me for that. It's still there, but I'm going to not share more today with that. But I haven't given up. I haven't given up on trying to live my thanks for my family in the best ways I can possible. Also on my list this year is this community, Statesboro. Did y'all know we're the only Statesboro in the world? Yeah, isn't that amazing? Statesboro, my hometown. It's not perfect, but it's a good place to be. It's a good place to be. Many in Statesboro have worked hard to elect good folks like our own Sherry Barr to leadership. And we just installed a new city council member that many of us are excited about. And we've supported organizations that have helped our community to grow in lovely ways. Many of you support those organizations and work with them. Thank you. I'm amazed by the arts community in Statesboro. It is fantastic. And I hope to become more active in a few years myself with the arts community. I'm going to join that Statesboro. I'm going to take those lessons from, yeah, I'm going to do all that. I got that in my mind. There's a lot of talent here, a lot. I'm also appreciative of the opportunities for folks to serve those most in need and the way they are working together to make things better. Our new food bank is amazing. Now, they got some more work to do out there, but it's just going to really be an amazing place. And there's so many other good organizations that are doing such good work to help folks. Now, I know we've got problems, but I'm proud to call Statesboro my home. So I give my thanks for this community. But do I live my thanks? Is there more that I can do? I think there is. And as I gradually transition to working less, I hope to do more to be involved and give more back to this community that has given so much to me. Perhaps I don't have to wait, though. There are things I can do now. I commit myself to living my thanks for this community more in the future. And another thing I'm extremely thankful for is Unitarian Universalism and, of course, this fellowship. I discovered UUs in my 40s. I've told y'all this story one time, or 2 times, or 3 times. But I was in my 40s, and it's back when they first had satellite TV cable stuff, and there was a cable channel that was devoted to religious programming where different churches could pay to have some religious programming on there. The All Soul Church in Tulsa had a program on there that I happened to catch about Unitarian Universalism. And what they were saying sounded really good to me. So they had an address. I sent off for the materials, hoping at the time that they would be delivered in a plain brown wrapper. I went to the mailbox before my husband did to get, not Greg, to get, to get them. It was my Baptist deacon husband, because that would have been probably seen as ungodly material, at least heretical. And when I was at last free to be me, I found my way to you, and to you, to this fellowship. I didn't even know there was a fellowship in Statesboro when I sent off for those materials. I had no idea, you know. And then they said, hey, do you know there's one right there? It's meeting out at the Botanic Gardens. I had no idea. But when I was free to be me, I found my way to you, and you. And I am so, so thankful. Of course, I'm thankful for things like the values we share. But I'm also thankful for things that might seem insignificant to some of you. For example, I'm thankful that this fellowship serves coffee with caffeine in it. That Baptist brew just didn't do anything for me. They didn't even tell me it didn't have caffeine. I would drink a cup, and after they quit serving the caffeine, I said, well, I got to get another one. I go drink another cup. And that didn't hit either, you know. So that may seem insignificant, but I'm kind of thankful for that. And so, so much more. Unitarian Universalism is my salvation and this fellowship. But most of all, I'm thankful for this sanctuary. Not this beautiful building that we have now. No matter which building this fellowship has met in, for coming up next year will be 40 years since 1985 that this fellowship has been meeting. They've always met in a sanctuary, a safe place. I explained this to you in my election reflection about growing up in downtown Statesboro, asking my mom about the sign that said Statesboro is a bird sanctuary and what that meant. She said something like, that means all kinds of birds can come to Statesboro, and they can fly all around as long as they stay in the city limits. No one will shoot them down. After she told me that, I started noticing some of the birds at my house over on Woodrow Avenue in downtown Statesboro. They'd light on our pear tree in the backyard. Some of them were pretty birds, or at least what I perceived to be pretty. And some of them were rather ugly birds, what I perceived to be ugly at that time in my life. Some of them would perch in the branches and make some beautiful music with their bird song. And others would just squawk, squawk, squawk. I knew, though, that whether they were pretty or ugly, singers or squawkers, that as long as they stayed in Statesboro, in the city limits, a bird sanctuary, no one would shoot them down. Now, on Sunday morning, some of our members come into this room feeling spiritually pretty. Others may feel spiritually ugly. Some are singing praises, and others may just squawk. But we all know that while we're in the company of this fellowship, no one will shoot us down. We will be supported. Oh, some may tell us they disagree with us. Yeah, they may disagree with our views, but they will not attempt to destroy our integrity. This is a safe place, a sanctuary where we can actually be ourselves, a place where we can laugh or cry, lament if we need to, or rejoice, and truly grow in the Spirit. And I give thanks for Unitarian Universalism and this fellowship. I've been a recipient of all the blessings for all these years. And I think in some ways, I do think I've tried to live my thanks. But I've certainly had some shortcomings. I admit that as well. As far as our shared values go, I accept these and I lift them up, not only to you all, but to other people as well in the community. But I'm glad someone's not following me around with a jet pig rubric and doing some kind of performance assessment. We strongly support acceptance of one another, not judging based on all kinds of categories and backgrounds, right? That's what we say. Yet this year in 2024, I'd be riding my trike on St. Simon's Island. I'm back on those roads I felt safe on. And I found myself every time I passed certain signs in front of people's houses saying, boo, 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 to those yard signs. Well, I'm going to forgive myself for that. If they had come out of the house, I think I would have smiled and waved. I think I would have smiled and waved. I hope so. Still wondering in my heart, what kind of fool are they? Okay, but I hope I would have smiled and waved. I did make a commitment when I was up on that mountain with my colleagues recently. I made a commitment that I was going to honestly try to love the hell out of this world. I want to try the whole world, all of them. Now, I said I'm thankful for you in this fellowship, so I sure need to live my thanks for this fellowship too, not just for the Unitarian Universalism values. Here's what I said when I first preached the sermon many, many years ago. I said, sometimes other members have shared concerns for a family member or a friend and asked us to pray for them or hold them in the light. And I sit there and shake my head. Yes, yes, I will. But all too often, I walk out of here and I don't even think of that family member, that person or their family member, until I see them the following week. I'm trying to do better now, though. That's what I said about them. I'm trying to do better. And not only remember that person, but see if there's any way that I can help them. I'm trying to do that. Follow up on it. I mess up still sometimes. One of y'all might have to remind me, did you follow up on that? We talked about some of these things. I did follow up on the people we talked about in the Committee on Ministry, Adrian, but sometimes I need a reminder, but I really am trying to follow up. But I think we can all do better with this. That's the thing we probably can all do better with. We have a precious group here, and we do not need to take it for granted. We do not need to take it for granted. We need to give our thanks, and we need to live our thanks. Okay, now look at your paper, look at your card. Think about these. How wonderful are these blessings that you have written about? Do you have some of the same problems I have, though, that maybe you aren't fully living your thanks? Is there more that you can do to live your thanks? Now, don't worry, folks. I know I have a Southern Baptist background, but I'm not going to have an altar call. But I do believe confession is good for the soul only if it's followed by a commitment and action. So I've confessed now to you all about some things, and now I must commit. I must commit to doing a better job of living my thanks for my family, for this community, and for Unitarian Universalism and this fellowship, and more, and more. I hope that as you share this Thanksgiving week with family or friends, or your dogs or cats, or the trees in the woods, that you will also attempt to live your thanks and think about thanks living. And we will all be more blessed. Now, I started this song with a rap. But since it's my last Thanksgiving message as your minister, I want to end it as a golden girl myself with these words from their theme song. Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. Thank you for being a friend. And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, well, you would see the biggest gift would be from me, and the card attached would say, thank you for being a friend. I think I got one more verse I want to sing. I'm not ashamed to say, I hope it will always be this way. My hat is off, won't you stand up and take a bow? Thank you for being a friend. And when we both get older, with walking canes and hair of gray, have no fear, even though it's hard to hear. I will stand real close and say, thank you for being my friend. May it be so. Amen. We're going to take our offering up now, and I remind you again that half of this is going to our Unitarian Service Committee. And Abby, let's see, you can start that on this side. And I invite you as we pass this, we're going to sing this time. The song that sometimes we play in here. Y'all remember the song that we hear sometimes? Just start singing with these lovely voices. Here we go. Give thanks for the corn and the wheat that are reaped, for labor well done, and for barns that are heaped, for the sun and the dew and the sweet honeycomb, for the rose and the song and the harvest brought home. Give thanks for the mills and the farms of our land, for craft and the strength and the work of our hands, for the beauty our artists and poets have wrought, for the hope and affection our friendships have brought.